Okay, so good afternoon, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the last class before the Diwali, we have discussed about the surface integral, line integral, surface integral, and the volume integral. Okay, so we have discussed regarding this particular topic of line integral, volume integral, and surface integral. Okay, so this was discussed. Now divergence of a particular vector was also discussed. Oh, sorry, gradient of a scalar was discussed. Okay, now we will be discussing about the divergence of a vector. Now if you can remember that the del operator, that is the operator delta, okay, which is called the del operator, it is an operator which is actually applied in three-dimensional coordinate system. Okay, so this operator can be applied on both scalars and vectors. So if you are operating it on a scalar, then it is the operation is called gradient of a scalar, and the output is a vector. Okay, now we will be going to the second operation, that is the del operator on a vector. Now there are two ways. One is a dot product and one is a cross product. If the del operator is operated on a vector and it is operated by performing the dot product, that is del dot a, or that is where a is a vector, then del dot a vector, it is called divergence of the vector. Okay, so del dot a is the divergence of a, and there can be cross product also. That means the del operator can be operated on a vector in two different ways. One is divergence, which is the dot product. One is the cross product, which is called the curl. So this is called the curl of a, and this is called the divergence of a. Okay, so now in this case we are discussing the divergence of a vector. So the divergence of a vector at any point P is the outward flux per unit volume as the volume shrinks about P. So I've just told you what is how to calculate divergence. That is, you just find the dot product of the vector with respect to the del operator. So that is the operation. So what is actually divergence? What does divergence mean? Now the term diverge means something is spreading out. Okay, so the word diverge is very much significant because the divergence came from the word diverge. So suppose we have a particular three-dimensional sphere like this, an object sphere, a round object, and we have some charge inside it. Okay, some charge. I want to suppose negative charges are there. Okay, now if charges are there, so the flux will be coming out of the surface. Okay, now this particular sphere is a three-dimensional object. It can be a sphere, it can be a cuboid, whatever. Okay, it can be a cube also, but it has to be a three dimension. You can see the fluxes are coming out. Okay, so this particular sphere has some, you can say it is having some surface area. Okay, it is having some surface area. So the surface area is S. If I say surface area is S and the volume is V. Okay, this is the area and V is the volume, because the sphere has a surface area and the volume. Now these are the fluxes. The fluxes, the electric fluxes are coming out. Okay, out of the sphere. Now suppose the total amount of flux which is coming out is phi, and we don't know the total amount of flux. It is told that B is the flux density. B is the, suppose over here A is the flux density. So A is the flux density. A is the flux density. What is flux density? Flux density is the amount of flux per unit area. Suppose A is the flux density. So the total flux will be flux density, that is Weber per meter square, that is Tesla, Weber per meter square into meter square will give you Weber. So flux density is nothing but the flux into area. Okay, flux into area. So A is the flux density and psi is the total flux. So the total amount of flux which is coming out, the outward flux is, suppose it is psi. Psi is the total flux. Okay. Now if this is the total flux and if it is equals to the flux density into area, that in physics we generally don't multiply the, or whenever you are finding this vector in a particular area, we use the surface integral, closed surface integral, which was discussed earlier. Always we go for the closed surface integral like this. So psi is equals to closed surface integral of A dot ds. So we are using the same thing, A dot ds. It is a closed surface integral. Okay, so psi is this. So this is equals to psi. Clear? Now we are writing that psi is equals to the closed surface integral of A dot ds. Now suppose this particular volume which is shown over here, this is shrinking. Suppose it is becoming very close to zero. The volume is shrinking. Suppose that means the volume was previously larger. Now the volume is very small like this, and the fluxes are coming out of the volume. That means the volume, inside the volume we have charges, and charge is creating the flux to come out. Suppose the volume is shrinking. So what is the amount of flux per unit volume? That means I want to calculate the amount of flux per unit volume. This is flux. Now per unit volume means total divided by per unit volume, and provided that the volume is shrinking, this one is shrinking, it is becoming zero. So we can write flux with respect to a volume which is shrinking, where limit delta V tends to 0 is equals to this entire thing. That means total flux divided by volume, but the volume is shrinking to 0. See this one, this is equals to this. That means this is the total flux, which is this one, total flux with respect to volume, where volume is shrinking to 0. That is equals to flux per unit volume, and that is called the divergence. It is called the divergence. That means divergence is nothing but, if you imagine a vector, and the vector is having a vector A, and it is a flux, and is coming, and it is a flux density, and the surface integral, closed surface integral of the vector will give you flux, that is psi. Now imagine the total outward flux coming out of that particular three-dimensional object, and the three-dimensional object is volume is shrinking, it is becoming 0. So then we call it the divergence of that particular vector. Okay. So physically we may regard the divergence of a vector at a given point as a measure of how much the field diverges or emanates from a point. That means it is a measure which indicates that how much the field diverges or emerges from a point. This will be easier for you if you see this particular three figures. Okay, suppose this figure number 3a, there is a point P. Okay, there is a point P over here, and you can see the fluxes, the vector, is coming out of the particular point P. Okay, so that means this particular point there is a divergence. So how much value? So you can it says that how much the field diverges from a point. That means this particular field diverges from a point. So divergence is visible over here. That shows that the divergence of a vector field at point P is positive because the vector diverges. So it is saying that from a particular point, from a source, when the field diverges, vector diverges coming out, that means there is a positive divergence. It is like this, that the sphere is almost like at a dot. the volume of the sphere is almost 0, limit tends to 0, the fluxes are coming out from the sphere. That is, the divergence is positive. Now if there is a point P and the fluxes or the field are getting inside that particular point, that means it is that particular point we have a convergence. That means all the field or vector is converging at that particular point. So that is called a convergence. So convergence is nothing but negative divergence. So it is a negative divergence. Now suppose there is a third condition where the point P is there and the vectors are passing passing above that particular point, but the vectors are not entering or leaving that particular point. That means there is no divergence nor convergence. That means we call it a zero divergence. Okay, so divergence of a field can also be viewed as simply the limit of the field's source strength per unit volume. So it is positive at a source point. So if there is a source, that means the field, the vector is coming out of that particular point, which indicates that there is a divergence. The fields are diverging from that particular point. So it is a positive divergence. And if it is a negative divergence, that means it is converging at a particular point. So that point P will not be a source, it will be a sink. It is called a sink point. This is a source point, this is a sink point. And over here, it is neither a source nor a sink, because in this case, the divergence is 0. Okay, that is why it is neither a source nor a sink. Okay, now this is just an mathematical derivation. It is not that important, just for information. Okay, so this is the equation for the divergence in the Cartesian coordinate system. It is quite easy, because if you see, it is just a dot product, and if you perform the dot product of any two vectors, what you get? You get a scalar. So divergence of a vector is a scalar. Previously what we have seen the gradient of a scalar. Gradient of a scalar was like this, del V. So output was a vector, V is a scalar. Okay, but in divergence we write like this, dot A, and output is a scalar. Why? Because this is a dot product, so it is a divergence of A. Now there is another operator, we will be studying that later on. Okay, there is a cross product of A. It is also an operation. It is called curl of A, and since it is a cross product, because del operator is a vector, we cannot call it a vector, but this operation has a vector property. Okay, so that vector property, when cross product with the vector, so we get another vector. Okay, so since it is a divergence dot product, so the output is a scalar. It is a scalar because the unit this del operator, if you can remember, the del operator is, one second, I am just explaining to you. If you have anyhow forgotten, then for your understanding I am just showing that basic equation. Those who have forgotten, those who have still remember or studied, that is good. Suppose we tell about del operator. So what is del operator, if you can remember? In Cartesian coordinate system, it was del x of unit vector x plus del y of unit vector y plus del z of unit vector z. Okay, and A was the normal vector, which was ax unit vector x plus ay unit vector y plus az unit vector z. If you find the dot product between these two, so what you get? This one value will be, this particular term coordinate will be multiplied with this one, and when it is multiplied with the other parameters, it will be 0. So only this will be multiplied. So you will get del x of ax, and unit vector ax dot unit vector x will give you 1, and unit vector ax dot unit vector ay will give you 0. So that is why all the others are 0. So only this corresponding to this and x corresponding to y, x corresponding to x, y corresponding to y, and z corresponding to z. Here also it is del del y of ay plus del z of az. So it is a scalar. It is not at all a vector. It is no longer a vector. Okay. So it is a scalar. Similarly, if you perform the same operation, dot product between the del operator in the cylindrical coordinate system with a vector in the cylindrical coordinate system, then the divergence of a vector in the cylindrical coordinate will be represented by this equation. Similarly, if you represent the divergence of a vector A in the spherical coordinate system, it will be represented by this equation. Okay. So these things you have to note down and you have to memorize if the numericals comes in the exam. Now, with respect to the divergence of a vector, we generally get a theorem which is called the divergence theorem. What is the divergence theorem? Divergence theorem states that total output flux from a vector field A through the closed surface S is the same as the volume integral of the divergence of A. That means the total amount of flux which is coming out of the particular vector is A, that is a closed surface integral of A, which is nothing but psi. If you can see this equation, this one, that is psi is equals to closed surface integral of A, which we have seen over here also. Okay, so that is being shown over here. So the closed surface integral of A vector is the total outward flux of a vector field A. There is the total outward flux. Okay, this one through a closed surface S, that is equals to the divergence of volume integral of A. That is the volume integral of divergence of A. Okay, so how can you derive this? Quite easy. We just proceed in this way. Suppose we have a volume. Okay, we have a volume like this, cylindrical kind of volume. Okay, now this total object, three-dimensional object, has a volume of V. Okay, and the closed surface area is S. Okay, so if the volume is V, so what we will do, we will dissect or we will differentiate this total volume, this total surface, or you can say object. The object is having volume V and area S. Now the object will be divided into small objects. Okay, you can say k number of cells or n number of cells. Okay, so this n is, suppose it can be 100, it can be 1000, it can be lakhs, millions. Okay, okay, so there are multiple number of cells. So each cell is having a volume of delta Vk. That means what we are doing, we are dividing into small cells like this, small objects. Okay, small objects. It has been divided into small objects. Each object is having a volume of delta V. Okay, delta Vk. That means delta V1, delta V2, delta V3, like that. Okay, and it is having surface area. Total surface area is Sk. Okay, total surface area is Sk. So this particular entire thing can be represented in this way. That means the total surface area is S, but the surface area of this particular cell is Sk. This particular cell, this one. That means each small object, that means total object is divided into small cells. So each cell is having a volume of V, or you can say delta Vk. One second. Each cell is having a volume of delta Vk. Delta Vk. And that volume, that particular cell which is having a volume delta Vk, has surface also, 6 surfaces. Now the closed surface area of this particular object or cell is Sk. That means if there are n number of total cells, okay, n number of cells, so there will be n number of cells stacked together, okay, n number of cells stacked together. So there will be n number of Sk's, okay, n number of Sk's. So that means if there are n number of Sk, so one particular cell is having surface area. Suppose this one, this is one surface area of one particular cell, because each cell is having a surface area Sk. Follow like this. Forget about the entire one. Concentrate on this one cell only. What is the volume of this cell? Vk, delta Vk. What is the surface area of this cell? Sk. So what is the surface area of this scale with respect to the vector? Okay, that means the surface integral of the vector A. Surface integral of the vector A will be A Sk, okay, or A ds with respect to integration of Sk. This is the surface area of one particular cell, or closed surface area of one particular cell only. Now this is Sk, so this is one particular cell, so there will be second one, then third one, dot 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 dot, there will be n number of cells like this. So if you add each cell like this, surface area for each cell, then we can get a summation. So that means this is the surface area, or the, you can say, closed volume integral of the particular cell, a closed surface integral of a particular cell, and there are, suppose, k number of cells. So total volume will be, or total surface area will be the surface area of one particular cell plus all the surface area of the all the cells. That means the summation of the surface areas of each cell. That means if you add each cell, surface area of each cell, then you will get the total surface area. Okay. Now we are taking this equation. Now in the numerator and denominator, we are multiplying with delta Vk. That means volume of the cell. Because just on the numerator and denominator, we are multiplying as if we cancel. Once we cancel, we come back to the original form. So just the representation in the numerical and the numerator and the denominator. Now if we represent like this, and once we have said that it is bounded by a small volume delta Vk, okay. Now as if now since the outward flux to one cell is inward to some neighboring cells, there is a cancellation of the every interior surface. So the sum of the surface integral is the same as the surface integral closed surface S. That means the sum of the surface integral Sk, if you add them all together, it will be equals to S, because the flux which is coming out of the surface will be entering the neighboring surface cell. So the overall surface area is S. Okay. So now taking the right hand equation of this particular, incorporating number 6. So right hand, this particular equation 6 means this equation. What was this equation? This was the divergence equation. That means closed surface integral with respect to per unit volume, where volume tends to 0. So for this case, we have come to this conclusion. The total surface area is equals to the summation of the surface area of small cells. Okay. Now if you multiply numerator and denominator with the volume of the cell delta Vk, you can represent like this. Now considering that these particular volumes are very small, as if they tends to 0, the delta Vk tends to 0. Okay, so delta Vk tends to 0. So what we can write? We can write this equation in this way, that this delta Vk tends to 0. Okay, so if it is tends to 0, and what we will do, we will take this summation outward. Okay, this one tends to 0, this part. Now summation will be outside. This summation and delta Vk is outside. So if summation and delta Vk is outside, so we can write like this: summation, and what is this one? This is nothing but divergence of A. So divergence of A delta Vk. Now summation of small volumes, it is nothing but integration of the small volumes. So we have started from here and we have ended over here. So it shows that the total closed surface integral of any vector can be represented by the volume integral of divergence of that vector, because the closed surface integral, if you divide into small parts, you can represent it this way, and in the numerator and denominator will multiply with small volume delta Vk, and if the volume tends to 0, then this entire thing becomes a divergence of the vector. Okay, so from here we can conclude that this particular divergence theorem. Now this theorem also helps us in a way to transform the closed surface integral to a volume integral. If you wish to transform, suppose you have an equation, you are solving a complex equation, okay, and in that case a situation may arise that you need to transform the closed surface integral into a volume integral, then you can apply this divergence theorem. And vice versa also, if you want to transform the volume integral to a closed surface integral, you can perform divergence theorem. Okay, so this theorem applies to any volume V bounded by the closed surface S. Okay, it is called the divergence theorem. Okay, so do you get this part? If you are unable to understand, you can tell me. Did you understand this particular theorem? The conversion of surface integral to volume integral. Hello. If you have any question, you can ask. So only 4 have joined. Okay. So Danish, Khushbu, Sohel, and Simran. Okay. So hope you have understood. So now moving on to the numericals. So this numerical is related to the divergence. So we have 3 vectors, because divergence theorem can only be applied on vectors. Okay. So suppose we have 3 vectors P, Q and T, where P is a vector in the Cartesian coordinate system, Q is a vector in the spherical coordinate system, cylindrical coordinate system, sorry, and T is in spherical coordinate system. Now, if you want to find out the divergence of a vector P, okay, divergence of a vector P that is in the Cartesian coordinate system, then we will apply this equation like this, because this is a divergence. Okay, so the result will be a scalar. So just we have to perform the partial derivative. It is very easy. Just perform the partial derivative. You take this vector x square yx, unit vector x, and you have to differentiate with x. So it becomes x square y becomes 2xy. Then we do not have any y term because unit vector y is not there. So y term will be 0, and in z term we have xz. So partial derivative of xz means x. So the solution of the divergence of P is 2xyz plus x. Okay, just mathematics. Okay, this the differential equation. There is the partial derivative. Okay. Similarly, for the cylindrical coordinate system also. Now for this case, don't make a mistake. Don't write the equation for the Cartesian coordinate system, because always remember, when you are performing the divergence of a vector, you have to see that vector is in which coordinate system. If it is in Cartesian coordinate system, then the del operator equation will also be in the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, then the dot product will be in Cartesian coordinate system. If it is in spherical, it will be in spherical. It is in cylindrical, it will be in cylindrical. So you have to write the correct equation for that. Okay, so this is the correct equation. Now QP means this one is the Q rho, actually rho is the q rho is the rhoth coordinate. It is rho sine phi. So partial derivative of rho sine phi with respect to rho becomes actually it is rho square, I think. Okay, so it will be rho square. I think there is a printing mistake. Rho. Let me correct it. It is rho square. Okay. Okay. So partial derivative of rho square sine phi is equals to 2 sine phi. Okay. Or 2 rho sine phi, because rho is also, oh sorry, it is not rho square. Rho is multiplied over here, because in cylindrical coordinate system it is rho q rho. So rho into rho sine phi is rho square. Okay, so in that way. Okay. Next, for the spherical coordinate system, you have to perform the same thing. So it is just a partial derivative. So nothing new to it. Okay. So this is very easy. So you can perform this of your own. Okay. Okay. So next we will be going for the curl. Okay. So I'm just will be discussing in a short way. So regarding this curl, okay. So curl, as I have told you, it is the cross product of the del operator with the vector. So curl of a vector is the dot product as cross product of the del operator with the vector. Now, what is the physical significance or the explanation for this curl? So curl is actually a rotational vector. It is axial or rotational vector. So once you find the curl of a vector, you are actually determining the output will be a rotational vector whose magnitude is maximum circulation of A per unit area as the area tends to 0. That means the maximum circulation of A per unit area as the area tends to 0, and whose direction is normal to the direction of the area, where the area is oriented so as to make the circulation maximum. So that means it is the maximum circulation. So you can see, as per the equation, it is the closed line integral. So in this case, we will consider, suppose we have a particular path like this, okay, and it is a path which is, the arrow is in this clockwise direction. Okay, there is a path and the length of the path is, say, L. Okay, and there is a vector A like this. There is a vector A. Now this path is circulating along the vector because it is a closed line, closed path. So once you determine the amount of vector through this particular path, we have to calculate the closed line integral. So closed line integral, we all know it is the A dot dl, closed line integration of A dot dl, which is called the closed line integral of the vector A. So it is like as if the vector is circulating along this clockwise direction. So it is circulating. So the maximum amount of circulation, okay, if it takes place along the closed surface. Now why closed surface? If it is a path, if it is a line where surface is coming. Now if you can remember, it was already discussed in the previous lectures that the closed path is like a open surface and closed surface is like a volume. Okay, open surface means only two-dimensional. If it was a cube or a sphere, it would have been three-dimensional. Then it would have been a closed surface, and a closed surface means volume. But if it is two-dimensional, a complete path, so closed, it is called complete path. So it is a closed line. Okay, the closed line is nothing but the open surface. Okay, so closed path, actually the closed path is a open surface. So the closed path is having some surface area. That means this particular entire thing is having a surface area, isn't it? It is having a surface area S. So amount of circulation which is taking place per unit surface or per unit area. Okay, considering that the area tends to 0. Again, the area is shrinking. That is a very small area, and it is circulating along a vector. So it is circulating along a vector. So we are getting the closed surface in a closed line integral of the vector A per unit area where the area is shrinking. That is called the curl of that particular vector. So in divergence, what we have seen, divergence, we have seen that the word divergence signifies that something is diverging or converging. So the amount of flux or vector which is coming out of a point, okay, coming out of the surface where the surface is having a volume so small it is like a point, then it is called divergence of the vector. And in curl, the vectors are not coming out from a point. The vector is actually traveling from one point to another point, and there is a closed path which is circulating. Okay, so when it is circulating along a vector, so it is called a curl of a vector, and as if the surface area of the particular closed path is 0. So it is a rotational vector. Okay, yes, so it is the rotational vector, and since the rotational vector, so curl of a vector is a vector, rotational vector, so it must have a direction. In divergence, we were not bothered about the direction because divergence of a vector was a scalar, but curl of a vector is a vector itself, so it has to be but it must have a direction. So the direction is actually it is actually a normal direction of the vector. That means it is normal to the surface as it is. It will be normal to the surface. So an is a unit vector normal to the closed surface, and it is determined by the right hand rule. Okay, so this is the curl. So this is another the explanation just for your understanding. Okay, now this is the curl. How to what is the equation of a curl? Because equation of a divergence was quite easy. The equation of a divergence was quite easy because it was just dot product between del operator and a vector in Cartesian, spherical or cylindrical, whatever. But in curl, we have to perform the cross product. Now suppose we are determining the curl of a vector A, equation of a curl of a vector A in the Cartesian coordinate system. Then we know that del operator will be in Cartesian coordinate and vector A is also in Cartesian coordinate. Now del operator we all know how it is represented, and A is also a vector which is Ax unit vector x plus Ay unit vector y plus Az unit vector z. Now if you are performing the cross product, then you have to perform in this way by calculating the determinant as you studied in your mathematics and basic physics. Now if you perform this particular operation and if you solve this determinant, then you will get this equation. So this equation number 11 represents the curl of a vector A in the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, so this one is the curl of a vector A in the cylindrical coordinate system. The same thing over here, the del will be represented in the cylindrical form and vector A will be in the cylindrical form. Then if you find the cross product by using the same determinant technique, okay, you will get this particular equation. So this equation is the equation for the curl of vector A in the cylindrical coordinate system, and this is the equation for the spherical coordinate system. So you can understand the spherical coordinate system, the equation is quite big. Okay, and how it is coming, how we represented this, very easy. If you remember the value of del and A vector in spherical, you just perform this operation of your own and then you will get this particular solution. You can check it. Okay, so it will also help you in practicing this particular cross product also. Okay, so we will carry on with the Stokes theorem later on. So till up to here, if you have any question, you can ask. So did you understand this curl? The curl is quite easy. If you are able to understand divergence, then a curl of a vector is also easy. Okay. Okay, so do you have any question? Khushbu? Danish?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I've recorded your attendance. Okay, so if you don't have any question, then you may leave then. So thank you.